I'm Nick Hyder, and this is the Hitstreak. But it's not any episode of the Hitstreak. It's a very special edition episode of the Hitstreak. It's episode 250, and it's coming out today on America's 250th birthday. So to commemorate the occasion, we're going to show you around behind the scenes. And I'm actually standing in front of one of my most proud possessions. Something that we've been doing literally since episode number 1 of the Hitstreak when we launched it about 5 years ago. This right here is the Wall of Fame. This right here, every single guest that was able to join us in studio here in Nashville, Tennessee, they signed this wall. Some of them more than once. We've had a few guests that have appeared on the Hitstreak more than one time. And I was going to actually show you some of my favorite signatures, but I think they're all doctors because, your guess is as good as mine. But here's a couple that do stand out that I was able to find. I was able to spot my dad's signature right there. That one's extremely special to me. Right next to that, I believe that's Chris Kirkpatrick, the founder of NSYNC. Touch the line, Chuck McDowell. They're starting to jump out. My buddies Randy Huth and Chris Mercado from the Nolensville Little League World Series team. I signed it. That's a good one. My cousin, former Red Sox, Bob Montgomery. Let's see. There's my man, Brad Lee. He's always keeping it real, ain't he? Let's see who else we got in here. Coach Michael Burt. There's Dale. Dale signed it for episode 1. He was also my guest on episode 200, another milestone that we had. The late, great Charlie Monk, Mayor Music Row. Folks, this is such a special thing for me, and we did it on the soundproofing board so that we could always take it with us wherever we go, because we always knew we were going to grow. That was the whole point, was to grow, was to expand, was to scale. A lot like the people on this wall. Every single person on this wall is a leader. They have a great impact in what it is that they do and who they do it for. But that's not all. This is our Wall of Fame, and one of the newest additions we've done here at the Hit Lab is we took some of our biggest guests, some of our bigger names, our most highest performing episodes, and we framed the pictures that we took with the guests and put them on the wall over here. Starting off with the $1 billion view girl herself, Adley Kinsman. And Adley is a ball of fire. If you don't get to spend some time with her, you want to do that. Funny story about Adley. My wife actually met her before any of you knew who she was. Most of you know her from being on a reality show as a singer, but she set her sights on what she's done, and now her company Viralish is working with name brands like, I think, Skittles, Land Rover. Literal household names that everybody knows that you see on major network television. Those are her clients too. And when she came in, man, the value was incredible. She gave me a lot of tips and secrets behind the scenes that we're still using today. Another really special episode for me was former Major League Baseball Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. And I met R.A. back in college. He literally used to come. He was an active Major League player at the time, and he used to come back to Trevecca Nazarene University where head coach Jeff Forehand and him were buddies, and we would always have our inter-squad World Series in the fall. And guess what? R.A. was not only a player, he was the captain of one of the teams. So he played shortstop, I think he batted fourth, and of course he pitched game 1 and the championship game each and every single year. He may have been undefeated. I'm going to have to check the records on that. But it was just such a fun time to be with somebody like that at such a young age. And then fast forward, he goes through his major league career. He releases his book. He releases books, plural, and that's when his true story actually came out. You found the guy came from literally nothing. You talk about humble beginnings, nothing. He was abused, just an unbelievable man that his faith has just driven everything that he's done. And for me, he's a hero, a true hero, and somebody that I aspire to be more like every single day. Probably the only time I ever got starstruck was when Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC was in the building. And look, man, I ain't gonna lie. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I was a huge fan, especially when they were in their heyday. I don't know if I've had anybody bigger as far as just the accolades, the stadiums, the world impact that their music reached in such a short amount of time. It was literally less than a decade. And he was one of the kings of the world at that point in time, everywhere they went. He didn't remember this, but they used to come when they were in Nashville and they were at their peak. My wife and I were working downtown at some nightclubs, and they would come in and do some of their appearances and whatnot. So I didn't really meet him or talk to him, but I was in the same room as him back when he had the dreads and everything else. And man, when he walked into the Hit Lab, it was literally like meeting a buddy of mine that I hadn't seen in a while. He came in, he was like, "What's up, bro? What's up, Nick?" He'd done his research. He knew a lot about me. He knew who I was. What a great episode. What a great time with somebody that I'm proud to consider a friend now. And believe it or not, if I texted him right now, he would text back. That's the kind of guy that he is. A great man, a great father, an unbelievable talent, and a great podcast guest, none of doubt. All right, I'm going to spend a little more time on this one. This is from the first time that the real Brad Lee was a guest on the Hitstreak. And everything that we're doing today has been influenced by him in some way. I met Brad in 2020, and I was invited to go be a guest on his podcast, Dropping Bombs, which is a massive podcast. That was my first ever podcast appearance. We started in the big leagues. My wife was actually on the podcast at the same episode with me. But we flew out to Vegas, and I got to tell you guys, I don't know if I've ever told this story before. We got there the day before, and we hung out with him all afternoon. He took us out to dinner. We hung out late, and he literally drove us back to our hotel, and he's got people for this. But this is the type of person that he was, and I remember being so almost dumbfounded that somebody at the stature that he was at that time, that he had the time to drive us around and hang out with us when he had a wife and kids at home that he also spends a lot of time with. Now, we go to his studio the next day, and the moment we walk in, I saw the future. I saw everything that I wanted to do moving forward. Since then, he's changed a lot, and so have we. But even if you go back to the very first episodes and you look at the layout and the format of the show, the layout of the studio, it's all just a smaller, refined version of what we saw in Las Vegas on a much smaller budget, right? But Brad came in. This is the first time he was on the episode. I think he's been on there 3 times now. And, we become great friends. Our families hang out. We do holidays together. He's one of the most special people in my life. He's somebody I consider a friend and a mentor. I can't say enough good things about the guy. And, business has even come full circle. We're doing something big together right now. Real big. And as a matter of fact, I'll just quote you to what he said to me and a few other folks on a phone call earlier today. He said, "This is going to be the biggest IMO on the planet." Only one way to find out, ain't it? So needless to say, big shout out and big thanks to my man, the real Brad Lee. All right, right here, we had former Titans coach, LA Rams coach, and literally an NFL legend, Jeff Fisher. Now, this one was a big deal. Tennessean sports writer, Hall of Fame, Mike Organ, told me, "Hey, Nick, you got to get Jeff Fisher." And I was like, "Why in the heck would he come on the Hitstreak?" He said, "Well, he's doing some big things in the Arena Football League, and this would be a perfect place for him to talk about it." So Mike gave us a contact. Thank you, Mike Organ. And months later, it took quite a while to coordinate everything. Jeff Fisher walked in the front door, and man, what you see is what you get. One of the kindest individuals. It's not what you saw on the football field with the grit on the gridiron dude being fierce. No, man, he came in, he was kind, he was so complimentary. It was an amazing time. He told me some crazy stories. We talked about some other guests that I've had that were former Titans that he coached in the NFL on the Hitstreak. He told me some great stories about them. We couldn't talk about them on the air, so I'm not going to talk about them right now. But hit me when you see me up close. Ask me about them. I might tell you. But Jeff was a big deal, and man, this is one of our bigger performing episodes. It's one of our most watched episodes, and again, just yet another reason. Somebody that I watched on TV, somebody that I, as a fan, and went and bought tickets and sat in the stadium. Somebody that I watched do what they do and take us to the 1 yard line in the Super Bowl. I got to share a couple hours with them in the studio. It don't get much better than that. One of the coolest things about the podcast is it's been an opportunity for me to unpack some really cool life moments with both my wife and my son. And all of you know, Ethan is quite the drummer, and he's been coming on the show since he was 11. He's 16 now. So he might even be embarrassed by this picture right here. But when I had Rich Redmond on the podcast, Jason Aldean, drummer, Rich Redmond, the guy, the drummer, the backbeat, the backbone of all the Jason Aldean classics, all those number ones. When Rich Redmond was in the building, Ethan got to come in and co-host. How cool is that, right? Somebody that like Ethan plays with his signature drumsticks. He got to hang out with us for a couple of hours, and Rich is the nicest dude ever. It's funny, you talk about ball of energy. That guy is on like level 10 all the time. And he was so sweet to Ethan. He keeps up with Ethan. He invites Ethan out to all the stuff when he's got stuff going on around in town. It's literally, it wasn't just a guest, it's a relationship. It's a relationship. And that's probably the one thing about all these people that they have in common is one, they're authentic, and two, they're all about relationships. And that's why they're so great. So literally, this was an awesome time for my son to get to hang out with one of his heroes, who also happens to be one of mine. And it's such a great episode. And Ethan even got to ask him a few questions. So again, just life moments that I'll never forget that I got to experience with all of you. All right, and the last one I want to show you today. This one, it literally took a year to confirm and get booked. Big shout out to Dale Hyder. He was my booking manager for the first 30 something episodes. And my cousin, and just somebody that took a lot of great pride in his work. He was also the guest on episode 1 and episode 200. But Clark Lee, head coach of the Vanderbilt Commodore football team. It don't get much bigger in the world of college sports than the SEC. And I'm fortunate enough to have had both Clark Lee and Vanderbilt Commodore baseball coach Tim Corbin, who is also on a wall, just not in this exact hallway. Those are two heroes of mine. All right, Clark and I were we played against each other in high school and college baseball. So, and what made this episode so cool, all right, this is before they had their amazing season last year. It was literally like a month before they kicked off the season. Like they were literally walking into it. Clark actually called everything that was going to happen last year. He told us it was going to happen, and then it did. But what made this such a great episode is we couldn't find a time for him to get out to the studio. So my man Antoine Robinson, my partner here at the Hit Lab, he said, that's no problem. We'll just build a studio there. So literally in their team room, we had less than an hour to build an NCAA Division I SEC quality studio to film that podcast. And we only had like 40 minutes with Clark, and then we had to tear down and get out of there in a hurry. So needless to say, we're extremely proud of that episode. That picture right there is taken in their team room right there. And again, it goes to show you the power of proximity, the power of surrounding yourself with the right people, and man, what you can really do when you put your mind to something. Literally build a state-of-the-art studio off-site in all that construction at Vanderbilt University in their team room. Man, what a day that was. Folks, welcome to the Hitstreak. We are here in Studio C at the Hit Lab in good old Nashville, Tennessee. And as you can see, this is a very special episode. Being today is America's 250th birthday, we wanted to celebrate a little bit. And if you can tell,
what a patriotic, unbelievable image we got with us right here. Folks, I'm extremely proud. 250 episodes, the amount of manpower, the amount of time, the amount of effort that it took to pull off 250 episodes. The guests, the production team, the editors, the booking people, gosh, the travel agents, the pilots for people that had to fly in. Literally, there was so many people involved in making 250 episodes even possible. And this is a big milestone for us. And we're extremely excited and proud to share it with our nation's birthday. Now, a little bit about where we sit today. Believe it or not, where I'm sitting, I actually used to ride my bicycle exactly where I'm at when this was just woods, before any of this was built. I grew up less than 5 minutes from here. I literally walked where I'm at as a kid, as a young child and a teenager. I rode my bike. These were the trails. It's wild to think what we've done in this space. And even as I went off and played pro ball and moved away and came back, the first house that my wife and I ever owned was in the neighborhood that I used to cut through when I first started driving, right behind the studio here. And when we were renting the house before we bought it, we used to drive to our office at that time, which was way out at Opry Mills. I guess it's Opryland. I don't know what it's called anymore. It's the Opryland area out by the Grand Ole Opry. And we used to point at this building, and I used to tell her that one day we were going to have an office in here. And it started out as an insurance office. And now, folks, it is a state-of-the-art, multi-studio facility that's capable of stuff that you can't even imagine. But don't worry, I'm going to be telling you, right? But I never do this. I want to show you guys something. Father's Day was earlier last month, and my wife got me something that I'm extremely proud of here. So this right here is it's the USA America 250 Yankees hat by Major League Baseball. Can you? Yeah, we can see it right there. Look at the detail and embroidery here. Literally like USA 250 underneath the bill. It says established 1776. The nastiest, probably like worst part of the hat they usually hide is the thing that keeps it firm underneath. It's literally like silk with the stars and the stripes underneath. I like to wear a little bit of it. I'm kind of in between sizes, so I'll give you all a little inside secret. I put a little paper towel underneath there. It makes it fit a little bit better. But this is my favorite hat right now, and you'll see me out and about wearing it. And I was actually going to wear the Team USA soccer jersey for the World Cup, but it didn't get in time, so I'm just rocking my normal attire. But I got this on the table with me here, flexing just a little bit. And thanks, babe. You always take care of me. Always got me looking good, and always with the best. So thank you for my Father's Day hat. It's a good thing, and I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, so we've taken a trip down memory lane at the Wall of Fame and the hallway. And now I'm going to take you on a little journey at some of our most recent episodes. We're going to go back and look at a couple of the clips from those episodes. And right now we're going to be using my Instagram to do that. So if you hadn't followed old Nick Hyder on Instagram, you need to do so. And we're about to start actually shifting our focus to some of the other platforms as well. We've done great on Instagram. Millions and millions of views every 30 days, 7 figures made from that platform. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm really, really excited about really diving into YouTube, LinkedIn, and some of those other platforms. There's a lot of low-hanging fruit there and a lot of folks that we're going to go get and we're going to connect with, right? But like I was telling you today, we're going to be looking back on Instagram at some of our most recent episodes. So I have my 85-inch vertical screen here to help me with this task. So buckle up. Let's take a look. I'm going to start off with one of the very first episodes that we ever recorded in the new set right here in Studio C. And that was with some of our favorite people, Dr. Christina Rahm and Clayton Thomas, co-founders of the Root Brands. And this was from episode 224. Let's take a look.
Today, folks, we got an extra special guest joining us today. Actually, twice the star power hanging out with us today. Founders of the Root Brands, operators of the Root Brands, founders of DRC Adventures, Dr. Christina Rahm and Clayton Thomas are joining us today. Guys, thanks so much for hanging. Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm also here for a good time.
Well, needless to say.
I'm 3-0 into this already, so let's roll.
We're all zeroed in today. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to you guys for being here, for all the amazing support that you've done for us in the past, and allowing us into your beautiful home at your company Christmas party and everything else. I can't tell you how much that meant to us.
It meant a lot to have you guys there. We didn't invite a lot. So thank you for being there. It was a great experience, and we are so excited to get to know you guys even more this year in 2026 because we love what you're doing.
So one of the things that really we're proud of about this episode is, most scientists, especially world-renowned scientists, are known for what they do with the science. She's not your average run-of-the-mill scientist. She's actually, I won't say anti-science. She uses the science in a different angle than I think that we're mostly accustomed to, right? So why it's called the Root Brands is because she doesn't want to cure the disease or cure the sickness. She wants to cure the root or the cause of that disease or that sickness. And we really got to dive in how a lot of the products that they've created, especially there's a story in that episode about how they're literally using a clean slate to kind of cleanse some of the stuff at Chernobyl. Folks, this is real. It doesn't get any more real than this. And, Christina has been knighted in 3 different countries. Last time I checked, maybe more by now. She's got multiple patents. I mean, this is as big as it gets in the world of modern medicine and science. So, and Clayton is absolutely killing it with what they're doing with biohacking and everything else. So, folks, for us, my wife calls us a crunchy family. I'm still learning what that means, but we really pay attention to what we put in our bodies. And I got to tell you, if you go back and look at episode 1 versus, episode 250, I'm a different person and I'm 5 years older, but most people would say that I look younger today. So, and I'm definitely about 15 pounds lighter then. And I had lost a lot of weight when I started that. And a lot of that is credit to the Root Brands product line that we've been taking for 1.5 years. So, episode 224 was a really important one for us. And it's one of our favorites. All right. Next, we're going to go to episode 234, where my man, the real Bradley, was back for his most recent guest appearance on the Hitstreak. And we talked about a lot of stuff. Anytime you're around Brad, you never know what he's going to say. There's going to be a whole lot of common sense and logic based around it. And he's kind of a fun guest to have because, a lot of these guests, when they come on, they're there to tell their story, and they're usually kind of nervous. And Brad is real conversational. He even he likes to keep you on your toes. And we'll be have an agenda for the episode, and we'll get off on something totally different, usually stemming from a story that he told or something like that. And this is one of my favorite clips that we're going to look at right now. It's been watched right at 399,000 times and some change just on Instagram. And this clip right here got a lot of traction. I think because of the example that he used, but really from the hook, the headline on the clip. which reads, "If they're fat, tell them." Let's take a look.
Seeing somebody that's like, not like chunky and chubby, but fat, that's not good. Period. It's not good for you. It's not good for your kids. It's not good for your family.
Right.
There's nothing good about it. But as a society, we want to include everybody and make them feel like that's okay. See, I don't lie because love ain't lies, Nick. If you truly love somebody, you shouldn't be lying to them. If I knew somebody that was like round, obese, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Oh, yeah.
not chunky, okay? Huge, fat, round, obese. Dude, there's nothing wrong with that. God made you that way. Bull. It's not true. Don't listen to him. It means that you are lacking discipline and you need to get your in shape. At least healthy.
Yeah.
So for some people to pretend that that's not a problem or to say it's okay, everybody's different. No, I think you're not doing that person justice.
You see what I mean? Like, and he would say, I would say, Brad, how can you argue with that? He would say, well, you know who can argue with that? He'd probably say fat people could argue with that. But I mean, what he's saying is true. He's saying, to love somebody is to be honest with them, even when it's hard. As an athlete, I respect that so much because as a high level athlete, I wanted to be coached hard. I craved being coached hard. I want people around me that create that accountability in myself where I have to coach myself hard. I want people to expect more. I want them to expect everything because then I'm going to prove them right. I'm going to go out and do what I got to do to show them that it's possible and that I'm glad that they bet on me. I'm glad that they respected me enough to be honest with me and invest into me. And, I don't know. I still am searching for what a lot of people see in myself, but I sure am grateful for whatever Brad sees in me, that he takes the time to invest into me. And because of going to Las Vegas to be on Brad's podcast, Dropping Bombs, in his studio, he gave me a clue. He gave me a clue of something that I knew that I wanted, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it looked like. And more importantly, I didn't know how to get it. And that's the beautiful thing about America is when you figure out what you want, when you actually know what you want, and you're willing to do whatever it takes to get it, you can have it. So next, I'm going to take you back to episode 209, where my guest was the iconic comedian Mark Paul. And it was actually one of the very last episodes that we filmed in the the modified original Hitstreak set. And fun fact, Mark Paul is actually coming back to be on the Hitstreak in September of this year. So he'll be able to be on here in Studio C in the new set. But folks, Mark Paul is incredible. And as a guy that is in the business of baseball, I mean, that's like what we say the family business around here is, right? Because of Pop and all those things. But somebody that's played baseball at a high level, and I grew up literally playing travel baseball. And now, as we're filming today, I just got back yesterday where I was coaching in my son's travel baseball team in a travel ball tournament. And just like in anything else, there's a lot of great comedy moments in when you get families together and they take it to the road. all the dinners and the hotel stories. I mean, folks, it's where memories are made. And Mark has done an outstanding job of not just capturing those moments because he's a travel ball dad himself, but he's been able to shine a light on them with humor. And quite honestly, in the world that we live in today, we need more of that. So let's take a quick look at this clip of Mark Paul.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Travel ball is great.
Yeah.
It just gets negativity based on the different levels of travel ball. So it's because people don't know the difference between 6U single A rec ball versus a 12 or 14U national major level team. It's a very different deal. And a lot of people are like, oh man, we just didn't like our team, we're going to start a new one. Well, yeah, a lot of people do that. And look, that's where money comes from all of these tournament directors, these lower organizations. But there's a whole other world up top there where there are those big ones, and the social media followings matter, and money, and they fly kids. And you know what? Everybody on that end of it is having a great time. It's just us being like, why can't my kid do that? Well, I don't like this. Is stupid. Travel ball costs too much money, and I hate gate fees. Well, why'd you buy your kid a $400 bat when he broke it yesterday? He still can't hit the ball.
That's exactly.
I mean, it's the truth. You know?
And it's crazy too, because what's in the kid's bag will be more than the head coach gets paid for the entire
Oh my God,
season.
dude! And why do they slam them on the ground all the time? You seen that video you were talking to me about earlier?
Well, I would never pull out a driver of a golf bag and just smash it on the ground. It's $400 or $500.
Yep.
They do it because why? They're going to grow out of it in a couple months, and we'll get them another one anyway.
That's right.
Because all you got to do, I tell the kids all the time, they go, I want a new bat. I said, just strike out. Strike out in front of your parents all the time, and tell them you want the dub. Yeah, they'll get it for you.
All right, so you got to catch Mark Paul. He's out on tour. He's playing all the hot comedy spots. And a quick little story about the video that he's referencing in there, because I guess somebody that knows that kid that was slamming that bat on the ground was really, really upset about that clip. And Mark actually went. He's such a kind person. He's not in it to embarrass anybody. He's not looking to embarrass the kid or anybody else. That kid had broken the bat, and he even asked. He asked the kid if they could make that video before that video had started. Right. So I want to make sure that we put that out there. And if you go back and watch that clip, he's literally basically like saying, it's all right, Mom, we'll just buy him a new one because it's a $400 bat. Mark's doing a great job. Check out his website. His t-shirts are phenomenal. Get your glove down. I can't remember some of my favorites ones about, coach's kid playing shortstop and batting third and all that kind of stuff. But folks, he's got travel baseball down to a T. If you're one of the millions doing it, you'll love his bits. You'll love everything that he's got going on. Check him out on the road, and definitely check out that episode. All right. So next we're going to look at, our guest from episode 242, multi-platinum country artist, award-winning country artist, and my good friend, Aaron Goodvin. We're going to take a look at a clip where he was, we're all feeling the pain of concert tickets these days. So let's take a look.
All the empty seats, because a lot of people, like, for one, like big, massive artists, like, are going on tour together. And now the tickets are $500-$600.
That's gotten crazy, dude.
It's gotten it's out of hand. Like there's just got to be a better way to do it.
You can go spend 4 days, like Disney's out of hand. And we were, Bruno was in town. And I know that for me to take my family to Bruno, we could have gone to Disney for a day and a half. A whole day and a half versus one concert. Those were not, I'm not even talking like really good seats at Bruno.
No.
And Bruno, I ain't hating on Bruno. I love Bruno, but like it's that way.
It's not the artist. It's not the art.
It would have been $2,000 to take my family.
$2,000
to take my family to the Eagles the other night. Like I would have.
A lot of money. Yeah,
but it's just so many people can't.
Yeah. And it's just hard because like you're like the this is why I always encourage, and listen, I understand that like everybody wants to go see the Morgan Wallens and the Luke Combs and those guys, and they put on great shows. Like they're great shows. Everybody sings. It's amazing, but it's like the other thing to like remember is like your local guys that are ripping around. I mean, I just saw a video this morning from one of my buddies, like David Adam Burns, who's like down there in Texas somewhere, and he's like, he was talking about it, and he's like, it just reminds me, go support your local guy who's $20 a night.
Yep.
In a lot of ways, it's just as good.
True. True.
And
what's the same thing minus production?
Right.
So that episode was such a great episode. Aaron's a heck of an interview. Like we had a great time, but probably one of the most special moments for me in that episode was he actually performed live acoustically the title track from his brand new album. And that was only the second time that we had ever had one of the amazing artists that we've had on the show perform a song for us live. The first one was legendary songwriter and artist Bobby Pinson, who performed his first song in like 15 years, his first release in like 15 years, called The Shave. And Aaron came on, and it's something that we had been working on for a while. And I love to hear Aaron sing. So one of the perks of being a podcast host is I got to hear one of my favorite artists perform for an audience of one. And at the time anyways, until you saw it. But he's such an amazing artist, an amazing human being, an amazing talent. And he's got some big things cooking. So Aaron's biggest and best days are definitely ahead of him. And Aaron, when you are playing that stadium, and I'll gladly support you and pay the $600, but I'm gonna need backstage, bro. Got me? All right, now we're gonna take a look back at episode 241, where my guest was the iconic and beautiful Angelique Norrie. Her and her husband David are some of our favorite people on earth. And man, they do everything great. And what's cool about the clip we're going to watch is Angelique is telling us basically, like, as consultants, they are extremely high-powered guns for some extremely high-powered people and companies. And anytime, like, as a businessman, this is one of the cool things about the podcast is we get to have people like this on where, like, folks, there is gold in these clips, in these episodes. And I get to hear a little bit about the inside track to what some of the biggest brands and biggest companies and biggest people on earth are wanting to do and how they're going to do it. So, like, what was it that made you guys, one, how'd you get through the gatekeepers? How'd you rise to the top to get those deals? Because, like, that's probably been the most impressive thing, besides just the quality of people that you are. When the more, like, I keep finding out, I'm like, oh, they work with them, they work with them, they work with that person, they work with him. Holy cow, it's impressive.
Thank you.
So how did you guys go from when you started to literally like the world-class people you're working with now?
You know, I wish I could give a pivotal moment or an opportunity that just kind of opened doors wide. It really wasn't that way. It was a very natural progression of word of mouth. And I'm a deep believer in relationship equity. And what I feel has happened naturally, and maybe also the grace of God, is just a lot of these people, these key people that have gotten us in these doors, have watched us for many years, and they've watched how we are with our kids. They've watched who we are in our marriage. They've watched how we've handled business and led people. And then, like, what is it that you do again?
Yeah.
And so they're like, man, when they learn about it, they're like, I need you to come do that for Bank of America. I need you to come do that for this political figure. I need you to come do that for this school. Our kids needs this. So really, it's just been a lot of deep relationship equity. And I think what's happening now, and I really can feel like maybe this is where I've been able to step into my superpower in this, is helping it really click for people. Remember, David is the color man. He can literally have one session with somebody and just, it's unbelievable what he can do with a person in a very short amount of time. When we spend more time with people, I'm the practitioner that can look at you and say, this is where you're leaking revenue. This is where you're leaking trust. This is where I would question whether or not you have that authority or if you're believable.
There's so many things that you could unpack in what she just said. Let's start with the relationship equity. Like, every dollar that I've ever made was tied to a relationship. Okay. So the difference between people that are, I don't know, let's say major successful and people that are not, it's the value of the relationships. We all have relationships. As a parent, like, you want your kids to hang around with kids that are the best at whatever it is that they're doing, right? And for some reason, as adults, sometimes we forget to do that. The great Vanderbilt Commodore baseball coach Tim Corbin says that rules are for people that can't follow directions, and standards are for people who aspire to do great things. My buddy Bradley says all the time, where you're at right now is a reflection of all the choices you've made leading up to this point and the relationships that you have kept and fed to the day that you're at right now. He says your life is simply a reflection of what you will tolerate. Angelique and David, they have a very simple gift that all of us are chasing. They know their purpose. They know what they're put here to do and who they're here to serve. And they simply go out and build relationship equity with those people, and they end up working together. And when those people grow, they're growing with them. Folks, that is the name of the game in business. If you don't know where to start, look around. Who's the people that you're spending the most time with? How successful are they? I bet your success mirrors theirs. Folks, this is the Hitstreak episode 250, State of the Union. Today is July 4th, 2026. America turns 250 years old today. And this is episode 250 of the Hitstreak. That's not a coincidence. Folks, this was intentional. I've been doing this show for years, like 5 years, week after week, Tuesday after Tuesday, because I believe a platform is something that you earn the right to use. And when a moment like this shows up, you can't waste it. You don't waste it. So I want to take a few minutes, not to preach and not to lecture, just to say some things that I think most of us feel, but don't always get to say out loud. 250 years ago, a group of people made a bet, a wild bet. They said, we believe that human beings are meant to be free, that you shouldn't have to ask permission to build something, to say something, to be something. They wrote it down, and then they bled for it. Fast forward to 1968. This country nearly broke. We were fighting ourselves from the inside out. People had every reason to give up on this place, and a lot of them didn't. They stayed. They built. They believed in something much bigger than the moment that they were living in. My grandfather was one of those men who put on a uniform for this country. I don't take that lightly. I actually still have his dog tags saved today. I looked at him this morning. I don't take it lightly for even a single day. This place is imperfect. It always has been. And you know what? That's actually okay. Because every person I've ever sat across from on this mic has been imperfect too. And we still showed up. We still had the conversation. We still found something in common. Folks, that's America. So folks, I'm not sure what you think or how you feel about America, but let me offer you some perspective. Think about a scale. When you put a whole bunch of stuff on one side of the scale, it tips. It wins. And this is something that my wife actually shared with me years ago, because I was constantly pointing out all the things that we needed to improve. And that turned out to be a very dark, disappointing life. And she said, Nick, every time you want to say something that we need to improve, balance it with something that we're doing great. And folks, that perspective, that shift changed everything. that would be my encouragement to you. There's a lot wrong with us. There's a lot wrong with this country. There's people running the country, and the people are imperfect. Some of them ain't even good. That ain't going to change. But for every person that isn't good, that's making these decisions, there's somebody next to them that is. So when we're focused so much on all the things that we've done wrong and we continue to get wrong, balance it out. Put some other things on the other side of that scale. Talk about the things, think about the things. Think about the people that are doing things for the right reasons to serve and bringing good into the equation. Because I think when all the chips are on the table, I think when you put everything on the scales, well, we're sitting here and you're watching me today. There's a lot more good than the bad.